What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So we're going to check out the death of the finisher by 20-minute promo. This should be a pretty interesting video to check out. I mean, I think a lot of people have seen how wrestling matches are structured now. A lot of times, if somebody hits their finisher the very first time, depending on the story that they're trying to tell, a lot of times people kick out. Sometimes they have to hit the finisher multiple times. And it becomes one of those things where it's like the finisher isn't really as protected like it should be. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. You know, some finishers have been really well protected, and then some of them, as soon as you see someone hit that move, they usually have to hit it twice or sometimes 3 times or multiple times to kind of get the move to finally do what it's supposed to do. But I'm definitely interested to see what he has to say, you know, his points on this, because a lot of people have said this. Finishers nowadays, they don't really finish matches. You have to usually do more stuff to, you know, put away your opponent. So we're gonna check this out. Should be a good one. Appreciate all love, support. Let's get right into it, man.
Why is a finishing move in wrestling even called a finisher when it doesn't actually finish the match anymore? In a standard event, one finisher isn't enough. Usually you need at least 2. WrestleMania comes around, look, okay, now we need 3. So what does that make it? A 50% finisher? A 1/3 finisher? That doesn't sound very intimidating, but I guess we keep the name anyway. And that raises the real question. At what point in...
I don't know why the quality just dipped. Sorry about that. It just went to 140p just randomly.
history did wrestling decide that the most important move in a wrestler's arsenal should no longer be final? Because a finisher is supposed to be sacred. It's how you stand out. It's how people remember you. Would Stone Cold Steve Austin be as iconic if he beat Vince McMahon with a superplex? Would Randy Orton be as legendary if he won matches with the overdrive out of nowhere? Would The Undertaker have ended Shawn Michaels' legendary career with a Spanish fly? Hold up. That would actually kind of rule. Nah, Tombstone wins. But the point still stands, a finisher is not just a move. It is a cornerstone of a wrestler's identity. You protect it. You don't steal somebody else's. And even after retirement, you still always ask permission to use it. And even if you choose to, that's not always the right move, because when you hit a finishing move and get that 3 count, you want that crowd to be thinking about you, not Stone Cold Steve Austin. So when did this actually change? Because finishers didn't always work like this. For decades, finishers meant one thing. When you hit it, the referee was counting to 3. Hogan hits the leg drop, it's done. Bret locks in the sharpshooter, it's done. Stone Cold hits the stunner, it's done. The first real crack in the idea of finishers wasn't kickouts, it was protecting star power. As wrestling grew, went national, went global, the top babyfaces couldn't just win. They had to look invincible. Think about the Ultimate Warrior kicking out of consecutive elbow drops at WrestleMania 7. Making the villain look weaker became secondary, to making your meal ticket look like a superhero to all those children, aka the direct pipe.
That makes sense too. When you really start to think about the finisher, now people kicking out of finishers because you want to prop up someone as this unbeatable force. That's a thing. They were definitely doing it back then, and they do it now. Like, there are times where certain people, like Cody's one of the few people that you're gonna have to hit him with multiple finishers to finish him off. John Cena, same way. You know, Roman Reigns, same way. Like, if they've built this character for you, especially as a babyface, you're going to have to get hit with everything. I think the most egregious one we've ever seen in a long time, and rest in peace to Bray Wyatt, was when he was the Fiend, and Seth hit him with, like, how many curb stomps? 6, 7 curb stomps. Still was kicking out at 2. Got hit with multiple weaponry, still kicking out. Yeah. They were trying to make him this next monster. But the problem is, you make the other wrestler's finisher look mundane because his star power is more over than your actual move. That's the trade-off.
Blind to their parents' wallet. And then the 90s happened. And with it, we got the birth of the cool heel. Now, the NWO did not just change wrestling. It made the bad guys the biggest
cool
stars
guys
in the business.
Yeah.
Suddenly, heels were not just obstacles, they were the draw. And you're not gonna make Hulk Hogan look weak to put somebody else over. That's not gonna work for him, brother.
Nope.
Now wrestling before. Kane kicking out of multiple tombstone pile drivers at WrestleMania 14. A character who could logically take more punishment, but it starts to imprint that thought in a viewer's mind that the tombstone is not always finality.
Yeah.
Suddenly The Rock is kicking out of stunners.
Yep.
Stone Cold is kicking out of rock bottoms. Goldberg is kicking out of the Hogan leg drop.
Yep.
Huge moments, huge matches, but also a small crack in the integrity of the moves themselves. And here's where it gets interesting. So let's play devil's advocate. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Does removing guaranteed finality make matches less predictable? Yes. Does less predictability increase excitement? Also yes. Do false finishes get people out of their seats? Absolutely. And
This moment right there, let me go back. And this is like one of my favorite WrestleMania, one of my favorite Hell in a Cell moments. This moment right here. This precise moment where basically Shawn Michaels hit The Undertaker with the super kick right into a pedigree for the 1, the 2, and he kicked out. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that moment. Should he have lost from a standpoint of he got hit with multiple finishers? Yes, you could say that. But the fact that he didn't and he kicked out at that moment, it's a moment that everyone that was watching will always remember, bro. Like, once again, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. JR's commentary on this was just fantastic. This was an end of the era type match. Shawn Michaels selling it in the corner like he can't believe he kicked out. Like, this was fantastic. This worked. You can say, oh, he shouldn't have kicked out, but it worked. It made for a great story and a great match and a moment that no one will ever forget if he was able to watch this live. So it has its positives and its negatives for sure.
absolutely. And at the end of the day, wrestling is a business of emotion. It's about telling a story, taking the audience on a ride and making them feel something. And
iconic
sticking
moment
the
too.
landing, whether that's good triumphing or evil sneaking away on top. So the real question isn't, did finishers lose credibility? It's this: did that loss make wrestling worse, or did it make it better? Here's the reality: those big match kickouts weren't the problem. The problem started when those kickouts stopped being big moments and they became expectations. Because all we did was replace one form of predictability with another. If you are in the upper mid-card or higher,
And I like what he said there, because now if you look at a match, you can tell a lot of times, depending on who it is, that first finisher, they kick it out. You can, now you know, it's gotten ingrained in our minds where usually, depending on the wrestler, they get hit with their finisher, they're kicking out. They're kicking out. You already know, yep, they're kicking out. The second one, maybe. But then when they get to like the third time they try to hit it, all right, it's over now. That's how our minds have been trained over these years.
Chances are you're not losing to a single finisher. Not unless the heel cheats in a way that protects you as the babyface.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that first finisher, you already know it's a 2.5.
Like I just
the
said
second one could be the finish.
I
but
just
now
said
the babyface
this.
has to get theirs back.
Yeah.
Because if the heel now goes down to a single finisher, that makes them look weak. Now
Yep.
they have to survive one too. But unless it's a massive main event, that survival usually doesn't come from just a straight up kick out like the babyface did. Because you can't be on their level, you gotta be right below it. It comes from something safer, like a last minute grab of the ropes, the manager pulling the referee out at the last second, a foot on the rope, a distraction, standard stuff. If this is a TV match, you already know what comes next. The next finisher is probably the finish. The heel won't hit it clean. They'll cheat to land it again. Or the babyface avoids the shortcut, hits their finish one more time, and wins. It's a formula, and if you've been watching wrestling for long enough, you start to understand the patterns. Which is the real irony. Finishers didn't die because they stopped ending matches. They died because they became beats. Predictable checkpoints that you have to hit before the match is allowed to end. And once finishers became predictable beats instead of endings, wrestling only had one way to compensate, and that is escalation. If one finisher kickout does not feel special anymore, you don't remove it, you add another, then you start stacking them. Finishers back to back, signatures into finishers, finishers out of nowhere just to get a reaction, not to end a match. What used to be the most protected move in your repertoire slowly just became another step in an elongated combo. And this is where things really break, because now a finisher isn't the end of a story. It's a signal that the real ending is coming soon. And the crowd doesn't react with shock anymore. They react with anticipation. Not that's it, but okay, we're close. And when every match is built this way, and not just the main events, the escalation never resets. Big match pacing leaks into TV matches. TV match pacing leaks into the mid-card. And suddenly, everybody is working like it's WrestleMania. Even when it's a random episode of Raw for a match that was barely promoted, which creates the biggest problem of all. If everyone's finisher takes 2 or 3 attempts to win, then nobody's finisher feels particularly stronger than anyone else's. The moves stop being a character trait, they start being a mechanic. And at what point does a wrestler say to themselves, hey, this isn't working, maybe I should try something else?
I will say this. They protected Baron Corbin's for a very long time. The fact that Drew was the only person to kick out of the end of days, and it was like a pretty tough moment, a pretty dope moment, I will say they protected his finisher, because his finisher is fucking fire. End of days is so fucking good. So the fact that it took Drew McIntyre, who's a believable, credible individual, and it happened at WrestleMania for him to finally someone kick out, I'm okay with that. That was a cool moment. Such a cool moment.
And once a finisher stops defining who you are, it doesn't really mean anything at all. So how do you fix that? Because the answer isn't go back to the 80s. It also isn't banning kickouts. And it definitely is not trying to pretend that the audience doesn't know how wrestling works.
Yeah.
The fix is actually very simple. Scarcity. One finisher kickout per card. That's it. Not per match, not per feud, per show. If you want somebody to survive a finisher, make it matter. Make it shocking again. Make the crowd remember who it was that did it. Everything else ends clean or dirty. One finisher, one pin, match over. Heel cheats into a finisher, match over. And if the match needs to go longer, you don't have to just stack finishers. Tell a story. Use fatigue, use desperation, use positioning. Win with counters, win with roll-ups, win with submissions.
Win with signatures. You can win with signatures too. It doesn't always have to be finishers. It can just be a move that, you know, was so devastating after so much time in the ring and punishment that they won with it. You can win with that too.
Make the finish feel earned, not escalated. Protect the move, protect the wrestler. Let a finisher feel like a period again, not a comma. Because wrestling doesn't need bigger and bigger moments, it needs clearer ones. When a finisher actually finishes the match, the crowd doesn't just react, they believe it.
Hey man, this was a dope video, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a like. Once again, this channel is called 20-Minute Promo. Go show them some love. They got 2K subscribers. I'm going to give them a subscription, because this was actually dope. Like, just, you know, breaking it down and you know, giving his opinion on how some of these finishers need to play out or should play out, especially in modern times. I like that. I agree with a lot of his points, man. And this was actually pretty cool, bro. So, hey, go show him some love. I'm going to link down the video down below. I'll most likely try to pin this. I'll have it in the description as well, but I'll try to pin the actual channel, so that way you guys can go subscribe, show them some love, tell them in the comments Ross sent you, you know what I'm saying, and check out his other videos as well. I'm gonna be checking them out off camera. So, but this was definitely dope, man. Comment down below, let me know what's y'all opinions on finishers in modern wrestling right now. Do you guys feel like they should cut back on the multiple finishers needing to be used? Should it be done sparingly? Should it be a situation where it's an every now and then situation where someone has to use multiple finishers to put away opponents? Let me know how y'all feel about it. But I appreciate all the love, support. Road to 200K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.